have to answer now, but I'd like for you to think about what does this and Schmeeckley Reserve have in common. Think about what would a quilt and this Schmeeckley Reserve have in common. So with that in mind, we're going to walk over onto the path over here. Step off the path to make sure that people are not impeded if they're going along the trail. So when I think about quilt and I think about Schmeeckley Reserve, I think about how they're both patching up old things into new, and how they're building on old things to make a new whole. And both Schmeeckley and a quilt helps you experience beauty in a very tangible way. So I'm Lily. I'm a UWSP student, and I am majoring in environmental education and interpretation with a minor in history. And I am from here. I am very enthusiastic about history, and I've always been curious, why is Schmeeckley set up like this? What's going on here? So I have a few pictures that I'd like for you to look at, to keep in mind. If you want to just share with the people around you, take one and pass it down. So this is a picture of Stevens Point in the 30s. And the big open space will be the north, and that is Moses Creek. It was originally farming land that was abandoned around 100 years ago due to poor soil quality, because one thing we know about wetlands is that they're not really high in nutrients, not beneficial to the soil for growing plants. So Fred Schmeeckley, around that time, 1923, came over from Nebraska to teach in the agricultural program here, and he noticed that the program was lacking a conservation element, and that was something that was very important to him. So in 1945, he founded the conservation major at UWSP, which is the first in the country. And this land right here, well, this land from the trees back to about the Sedge Meadow Trail from the road, and then from just over this hill to where Michigan Avenue is now, that was bought by the university in 1956. And then 2 years later, this area right here, well, really, this area was bought in 1958. And the students here in the late 50s, early 60s, they developed a college park. Specifically, the fraternity Alpha Kappa Lambda started a park here where they could hang out and also enjoy nature. They were college students, obviously, and were not always responsible. There were a few fires that were lit here, but the volunteer firemen and people in fire programs at the university were more than happy to skip class to come over here and put out the fire. So, just gonna wait here a little bit. So we're going to walk along the path about halfway between here and the Sedge Meadow Trail. And as we're walking, I want you to observe a few things about the trail. So first of all, it's really straight. And why is it really straight? There are a few things along the trail too that aren't typical of a nature trail. So let's think about that as we move along.
You're at 5 minutes.
Talk to folks who live in cities alone about some of these things. You know, there was a flashlight, the guys did not know what this was, but this big ball, and I'm like, what is that? It must be some pollution thing. And then apparently it's a waterfall. Yes, sir. Oh man, killer and I started at the same time, so you know that's the topic of conversation. Flame light. How big is the flame? Oh, they're just so bad. Yeah, there's a man who loves fire.
There's some interpretive media.
Yeah, and subscribe for iTunes for free.
I feel like I'm documenting the beginning of a horror movie, you know?
Why would they be trying to fire?
Did you see the fire hydrant?
Where?
Well, yes, and that's it.
There it is.
That's why you probably
I've been looking for this thing for weeks. That fire
My
hydrant.
first semester here, my roommate
There's
pointed
like a
it out.
manhole.
It's because there used to be an old road they used to go through here.
I think that I actually don't know. Yeah.
Was this at one time slated for development?
Good question.
This like ditch right here too seems very straight.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it doesn't look like a natural like.
Do you think it's from the past?
Either that or it was dug.
Okay.
Or it's a wetland, you know?
So what do you notice as we were walking? Fire hydrant.
Manhole cover or human hole cover.
Yeah. Manhole cover, some for sewage, for things that you would see along a road. And that's because this path right here used to be Reserve Street. So Reserve Street was built probably around the 20s, around the time that Fred Lilly came here, and then was destroyed in 1975. And then this was taken out because of concerns of increased traffic to Century headquarters that was built over here in 1977. Does anyone know another building that was also built in 1977? Maybe that was on campus. Here's a big clue. It no longer exists.
The library?
Yes, the library. The UWSP Foundation and Century met and they discussed where should we put this road that will bring all these hundreds, thousands of employees to Century. And so they decided to extend Michigan Avenue over there. And they held a city council. It was pretty heated. And how do you think you would feel if you lived here in 1975 and someone said, hey, we're gonna take this big chunk out of this land reserve. It wasn't Schmeekley Reserve yet. And take this big chunk and we're gonna build a big road. Do you think, what would your genuine reaction have been?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or even like,
What a waste. There's already a road.
Just go around
Yeah.
it.
And also, think of all the people crossing the road as they're hiking around here.
yeah, there's a lot of foot traffic here, so I think a lot of people were genuinely upset But it went through anyway, and this was not the first time that UWSP and Century had joined forces. So we're going to walk over to the sign over there, and we're going to think about another location. So, how many of you have been to Lake Jonas? Do you have any like memories of Lake Jonas that really stick out? Do you like? Yes.
I saw a loon there once
That's pretty cool.
Really?
last winter, I think around this time of year.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Exactly.
They need like a lot of land to...
They'll get stuck on little lakes occasionally, and they'll actually have to be rehabbed because they need a long distance to be able to take off because they're such heavy birds.
The state park I worked at, we had a dam, and one of the entire loons got stuck like on the stream under the dam, and it couldn't get out because there was not enough like space for it to. So we just had to like watch it for a couple days,
Oh, wow.
and then it disappeared. So I think it just like floated down.
I wonder if it,
No, they can't. They can't.
They need to
They're water birds, and they can't walk on land because of how like dense their legs are.
It's
Their
like
bones.
behind.
They're a little like they look deformed.
okay, so they can't walk.
Like
They're basically designed to sink.
Mm-hmm.
a duck's feet are at the middle of its body, so it has a nice pivot point. A loon's are like almost behind the tail
So it just
because it's meant to die. Not
I think someone should
She just missed out on all the loon knowledge.
Maybe I need to up my loon knowledge.
Is it gonna?
We don't have them in South Dakota.
a
Yeah.
bunch of them that recently they like fell from the
I
sky
read about that.
because they
They froze.
froze
They had like,
in the atmosphere. They like flew too high, got frozen, and like there was this woman, and they like heard a thump and it hit her house. It like hit the roof.
Can you
She
eat
looked
a
up and
loon? I mean,
well, you probably
it could. I don't think
I don't know.
everyone in Wisconsin would kill you.
I know.
We like,
Oh,
we
it's
like
it's dead though.
but we like loons. I'm saying it's like you eat bad.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, that's different. Actually, yeah, you could eat anything with
There
this.
was a dude with a, I was at a Badger game for football. He had a Badger skin hat.
Oh,
And as a DNR student, I asked him like, oh, do you have the thing?
Alright, so as you look at this map over here, I'm gonna give you the Schmeekley land acquisition map, which shows how Schmeekley has grown over time. And as you can see, Lake
Wow,
Jonas
it is
is
a lot
a
more
pretty
patchy.
prominent part of Schmeekley, and it was constructed through an effort with the UWSP Foundation, which is kind of like Friends of Schmeekley. They're a nonprofit that support the organization through financial campaigns and stuff like that. So they bought the 50-acre plot around Lake Jonas, and they dug out this 24-acre lake in an effort to, first of all, give Century their big mound that they are on right now, and also to make a lake that looks very natural, but is a man-made lake. So it's a spring-fed lake, and it is. And they constructed it. It took about a year, so 1975 to 1976, to construct this lake and to restore some habitat around there to mimic a real spring-fed lake. And this was made possible through the Land Water Conservation Grant. And this land conservation grant made Schmeekley what it is today. So as we're walking back to the shelter, I'd like to talk about the Land Water Conservation Fund grant. So this was, Schmeekley estimates around 94% of the reserve grant funds are like, 94% of the lands gotten by Schmeekley were gotten through this land reserve grant, which is a Wisconsin DNR grant, and it made it possible for the UWSP Foundation and the university itself to get these